Hey folks, just a quickie here, if you'll pardon the expression. I do enjoy discovering new guitar players and other instrumentalists online. Just this week, I've discovered an array of great players, mostly young, sometimes frighteningly young. There are literally hundreds of videos of young prodigies like Suga Jung and I think her name is Aku. Both really young Asian players that started posting guitar videos at 9, 10, 11 years old. Now they're just amazing technicians in their teens and 20s. Lots and lots of them. And I'm stunned by the amount of technique there is on YouTube. People that make their own videos. Old timers like me can practice and practice and practice and will never be as good as some of these kids. Their technique is astonishing. Particularly all the fingerstyle players on YouTube that came after Andy McKee and the Tommy Emmanuel disciples and Richard Smith and there's a slew of them, Alexander Misko, and gosh, there must be at least 10 or 12 just absolutely phenomenal fingerstyle guitar players. But what I've noticed about a lot of them is they put up these stunning cover versions of popular songs, and the technique is just out of this world. But what they tend to lack, not all of them, but some of them, is composition, original compositions. And while their fingering technique, their scale, their chord work, their right hand slapping and pull off and all manner of rhythmic playing is just absolutely mind-boggling. What seems to be lacking is people who can actually write really good, well-developed compositions with harmonic variety and melodic and sense of adventure. So what we're stuck with is just tons and tons and tons and tons of covers of popular songs to generate hits, to generate the like content, because that's what this world is all about, is being noticed. And when I watch these, I'm impressed with their playing, but a lot of times I would love them to post something they wrote themselves, and occasionally they do. And sometimes when I hear those original compositions that come few and far between, it's technically very proficient. There's a lot of stunning gymnastic guitar playing, but often there just isn't the harmonic complexity and the mental array of ideas that goes into good composition. And just this week I watched a series of Pierre Bensusan videos. Pierre Bensusan, Michael Hedges, Leo Kutke were three of perhaps the originators of the fingerstyle, the slap rhythmic style. Particularly Michael Hedges made it popular in the early 80s. Tragically died in a car accident. Bensusan was also a French proponent of that style, maybe not quite as much tap. But his compositions are stunning. They're amazing. And maybe he doesn't get the views, he doesn't get the popularity of the newer generation of kids. He doesn't get millions and millions of views like some of these new kids with their guitar pyrotechnics. But his writing is rich and complex, and his theoretical knowledge is belied by those compositions. You can hear just the depth of ideas. It's the same with Hedges. When you listen to Aerial Boundaries, the seminal Windham Hill recording from Michael Hedges, my favorite Michael Hedges recording, and you listen to those tracks that are now become legendary, they've been surpassed in technique by a lot of fingerstyle and tap players that have gone beyond what he did, and taking it to another level. But one thing they haven't matched is just his composition. The sheer range of melodic and harmonic ideas, and rhythmic structures as well. So, that's just, for me, this is just a reminder that sometimes the wizardry of people that can play like Buckethead and Steve Vai and Tommy Emmanuel too, while it's impressive, sometimes what's lacking is the compositional side of things. So, if you are a guitar player, I would just, advise you to put some time into that side of things. Keep the wonderful technical stuff going. Keep wowing us with your playing. Just the sheer inventiveness of style that people are coming up with these days. It's staggering what people can do now on all instruments. I play this to the cello as well. I like to watch the two cellos and Giovanni Salima and all these cellists who can do all these crazy things on the cello that nobody thought of doing 50, 60 years ago. But there's a big divide between the ones that are just tricksters and amazing performers and those that can truly write and can compose. Not just gimmicky, clever, fast, sort of wizardry soloing and stuff like that, but people who really write rich, harmonic, layered movements of music in all forms. And sometimes the ones that are perhaps not quite as technically proficient, but their original pieces are just much richer, are the ones I prefer to listen to. And I think in music, it's getting a bit lost in this new era of technical proficiency and people just reaching amazing heights of playing by the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think the compositional element is the one thing that sometimes gets left behind. You consider the really great players that we've all grown up with. The ones that stand the test of time are the ones that can paint with a large palette. I'm thinking of people like Jeff Beck. Maybe he doesn't play like Buckethead and Steve Vai and Satriani and all those guys, but what he does is unique, and what he writes, the pieces that he writes, are full of richness and complex ideas from the compositional side. Someone like Mike Oldfield, if you listen to his old recordings like Tubular Bells and Hergest Ridge, Omnidawn, yes, he doesn't play, he's not up there with the 100-mile-an-hour Yngwie Malmsteen style players, but what he does do is write just absolutely fabulous pieces of music for the guitar, and presents a style that no one else sounds like. If you listen to those three great recordings, the original Tubular Bell, Omnidawn, and Hergest Ridge, listen to his guitar playing on that. No one sounds like that. The tone, the style of fingering, the compositional runs, the melodic stuff. It's like Beck's Blow by Blow and Wired, and other great guitarists who can write for the instrument. And Pierre Bensusan is one of those who does it for the acoustic guitar. His pieces are so rich, so varied, so tasteful and thoughtful. And even though he's not all over the guitar slapping and tapping and hammering, in some ways it's more impressive because the sheer scope and depth of harmony, rhythm, and melody that come out of the instrument are surpass, some of the trickery that you see from other players that might impress you for a while, but once you spend time with it, you realize that it's just the ability to play scales or do rhythms fast. It's not actually you're not dealing with actually any melodic or harmonic content. It's more to do with just pure gymnastics in terms of lightning quick fingers. I don't know where this video is going. I just thought I'd mention it because I watched a few videos and I was really struck with the power of his writing and his compositions and people like him. And I just thought to say that these kids, this new generation of players, is just absolutely remarkable, and it's not fair that they're stuck on YouTube relying off ad revenue and royalties, and hardly any of them are making a living wage from being better musicians than my generation ever was. It's really sad that a generation of musicians can meet with such a level of technical wonder, but all be basically poor bedroom players surviving on YouTube revenue. They really deserve better, and hopefully some of them will go on to do better. But what they can learn, if there's nothing to learn technically from their elders, what they can learn is some of the composition depth. So that's just a thought that I had. I wonder what your thoughts would be on the matter. I'm not one of these people that says things were better in my day. Music was better in the 60s or 70s. That to me, that's all rubbish. I think there's great music in every period. However, I'm just talking about the new generation of slick, dynamic instrumentalists on YouTube, and this new phenomena of people being able to broadcast their skill across the globe, which is new to this generation, or at least the last two generations since YouTube's been going. I've noticed that a lot of it is sort of flash cover type stuff, which is clever and wonderful in its own way, and I'd like to see more of it from a compositional aspect. People writing and performing originals and putting more thought into the elements of music, and not just trying to wow you with their technique. All right, folks, I'll take your comments on that. See what you think. See you on the next one.